Awesome. All right. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Mary Brown, and I am on the Carl Ben Eielson Middle School in Fargo's PTA. This year, I am serving as our PTA treasurer. And last year, when we applied for the School of Excellence, I was served our couple roles, secretary and treasurer. So we were happy to get a couple additional officers join our officer team this year. So this year I'm able to focus primarily on treasurer and other responsibilities that come up. So today I'm just going to give a quick overview of the steps that we took last year to, is there any way, sorry, there we go, to apply for the National PTA School of Excellence. So I included a link. I'm not sure if these slides will be sent out to everyone. Like I said, Kristen does have them after the meeting because the links to a couple different resources are embedded, including a link to the National PTA School of Excellence. They have a huge set of content that goes in depth on the program, the requirements, the benefits, all the different steps, and a ton of different resources. So I won't go a ton into that today, just in interest of time. But essentially, what it is, it's a recognition program that helps support and celebrates the partnerships between our local PTAs and schools. And so there's a variety of different steps that are taken, which I'll quickly walk through today. But it is a 2-year designation that once you get it. So that's kind of great because it's a somewhat lengthy process. And so once you are named it, then you can say that you have that recognition for a couple school years. So last school year, we were named a 2021-2023 National PTA School of Excellence. We were excited to be one of only 242 schools nationwide and the only one in North Dakota to get this recognition. And as I mentioned, the National PTA School of Excellence site has a ton of information. I believe they just extended the enrollment is now open through October 15th. It had been October 1st. So there's still a bit of time to go ahead and take that initial step. And the initial enrollment or application step, if I recall correctly, is not too time intensive. It's kind of a shorter enrollment form that needs to be completed. So if this is something that you're interested in, don't be scared with that date coming up, because there's the bulk of the work would happen after that date. It's just really to get into the initial application process. So basically, the process that we went through, and most of these steps are kind of core requirements of the program application. So there is a baseline survey, and it's a survey that the National PTA provides the questions. So there is a baseline set of questions that all schools must use. And then you have the option of adding additional questions to it as well at the end of the survey, which we did add a few last year. And I want to say maybe it's about 25 questions, and we added about 3. We created a Google form, and we also had print forms available as well that we handed out during our our parent-teacher conferences. So that baseline survey, we conducted that in the September-October timeframe, and we got input from our families, teachers, and staff. And the reason really to conduct that survey is to get a baseline of results, gather input, and then you'll see as I go through the rest of the steps here, there is a follow-up survey that's conducted later in the school year, just to see measure the impact of any changes or progress or whatnot. That was steps that were taken throughout the school year. I want to say our sample size wasn't huge for that baseline survey. I think it was right around 30. And so again, we used those results, and we did add some verbatim comment questions as well. And those are probably the most beneficial, just to get some actual actionable feedback and suggestions from the community. And then there the National PTA, and I'm not sure if they changed them this year from last year, but they provide different focus areas and just different goals. And one of the requirements is to select one of those focus areas that the school would want to, and the PTA would want to focus on for that given year. So we came up with a couple different recommendations, and we reviewed those with our school admin and the rest of our PTA members, and landed on selecting volunteer opportunities and volunteer participation among families. And so the next step is basically coming up with what's called a roadmap to excellence plan. And that's just coming up with more detailed steps and activities and whatnot to help, make an impact in that specific area. And that's not to say that you can't, focus on other areas. It was just to, focus on or select one with intent of having kind of primary focus there. And then I was really looking at continuing to identify and promote opportunities that supported that focus area. The reason why one of the reasons why it was, there were several good candidates that we, that would have been great options for us to select. This one was, last year was kind of the first year that families were able to really get back on campus after the first year of COVID. And so we really wanted to get our families kind of back into that practice of involvement and engaging and getting in the classrooms or in the school with our students and our teachers and whatnot, and also just going hand in hand kind of with the improving or increasing, I should say, the community involvement as well. And then throughout the year, I just really tracked and documented our progress across those areas. So whether it be looking at our membership goals and where we landed on those, where we had volunteers coming to things like our fundraising events and, bringing items that were requested for donations for things like our parent-teacher conference meals and stuff like that. And we definitely saw a lot of improvement, not only from the previous year, but also just even pre-COVID years as well. And then in the May timeframe, we deployed a follow-up survey. And that one, since we really had very low completion of the print forms, we just did the online one. People just, tend to prefer that method, I guess, but we did have print ones available, if needed or if requested. I know one of the recommendations from the School of Excellence or National School of Excellence is to have the survey translated. We did not do that. I know our school would have had it available, I believe, or would have had resources available to us to maybe like a couple different languages, but just depending on the demographics of your school, that would be something to consider as well. And then there is a final application process, and that is something that is completed. It was due, I believe, by like middle of June, and that was to it included a couple different questions to complete, and really just providing data points and statistics and just information that showed, how we made an impact and how did we kind of move the bar along those different areas. So that's where it's really helpful to track and document the progress throughout the year, so that when that time comes at the end of the year, you're not starting from scratch. You kind of have a lot of that information available again. And we did things like included quotes from that we received, just kind of ad hoc quotes from our staff, from parents. Our principal provided a quote. There was an option to provide like videos and pictures, which we did. So that was something, again, that we did in June. And then we had to wait until August, and that's when we received the notification that we were named one of the School of Excellence. So we received a big banner a couple of weeks ago that we are going to have a little celebration, hang that up in the school. There's a certificate and whatnot, and they do an awesome job at providing communication templates. So we share that like across our Fargo Public School District, just to really raise awareness and around the recognition that was received, the steps that were taken, and hopefully to help provide that incentive for other schools to take that same step as well. This next slide here, I'm not going to walk through this in detail. I just wanted to include this. It just goes through a little bit more detail on these best practices in family engagement. And again, that's, when we had to provide that final application, we had to give examples of, for example, how were we being inclusive? How were we being impactful, the collaboration with the community and whatnot. And so it was just a good way of making sure that all the different steps that we were taking and actions and whatnot were kind of aligned with and grounded, with those core PTA, national PTA principles, and Uber kind of goals as well. So once you are named a school of excellence, like I said, you have it for those couple school years, but you can, like we would have had the option of enrolling again this year, picking a new goal for the year, which we've decided as a group, we'll just kind of continue what we did last year, along with really mental health is our other focus area that we applied for a couple different grants, so hoping to get some additional resources in a couple different areas that were really of interest to us last year and want to continue this year and going forward as well. So I see I'm right at time already. Not sure if we have any extra time for questions and answers, or if there are any, I can stick around for a bit longer here.